Hey listeners, it's Mandi from the Monomyth Diaries. We're pressing the pause button for just a little while during June and July to catch our breath and gear up for a powerful season 2. While we're away, we're bringing back some listener favorites, episodes full of honesty, heart, and transformation, in case you missed them the first time around or you just want to soak them in again. Mark your calendars. We return the first Tuesday in August with new voices, incredible stories, and meaningful conversations that we hope will inspire transformation and growth. Thank you again for listening, for sharing, and being part of this incredible journey with us. We can't wait to walk into season 2 together. Hi everyone, and welcome to the Monomyth Diaries, a podcast where ordinary people get to share their hero's journey. I'm Mandi.
And I'm Karen, and we'll be your hosts.
We'll discover powerful insights, critical moments of growth, and much more.
Thanks for joining us. We all have a monomyth to share, and someone out there needs to hear it.
Welcome back to another episode of the Monomyth Diaries, where it's a take what you like and leave the rest podcast.
So Mandi, can you believe it's been a year since we began walking this Monomyth Diaries podcast journey?
I know. Look at how far we've come over the last year and all of our transformations that we've gone through.
Seriously.
In this episode, we're going to take some time just to reflect on some of the transformations that we've had over the course of the last year.
I want to share about how you went from like not even having a working laptop to my gosh.
Yeah, thinking back to a year ago when we started this journey, I was using a computer that was maybe 10, 12 years old. People couldn't believe it was still working. Even when I took it to the computer store to have it worked on, the look on his face, that it was even still functioning. I was thinking about a couple of years ago when I went to that Tony Robbins seminar. Mm-hmm. One of the issues for me that kept coming up, one of my shortcomings, mm-hmm. was I had a really hard time with knowing I was capable of learning new skills. And really? I felt like I didn't have any skills.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And so that was a big part of that journey for me. And over the course of this year, I would say for me, the biggest growth that I have made in learning to do this podcast is that I can learn new skills.
Yes.
I have learned some social media skills, and I think the biggest thing that I've learned is editing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that is huge, considering I knew nothing about editing when we started. And I'm not saying that I'm a pro by any means, but I did have a friend of mine call me the other day and say, Mandi, your episodes are getting so much better. And I remember thinking back to my friend Stephanie Landis, who runs another podcast called Unbabbled, mm-hmm. talking with me for hours and, just kind of sharing her experience. And one of her experiences was, don't ever look at your old podcast episodes because you'll be embarrassed because you'll grow so much. Mm-hmm. You'll learn more skills. So I would say that's the biggest transformation that I've made over the course of the last year doing this was I can and I will learn more skills and I will continue to learn more skills.
That's incredible. I think about how we went from like not even understanding what gear we needed
right.
to being able to troubleshoot.
Right. And the studio was like a game room, my son's game room, mm-hmm. and it didn't even have 4 walls.
Yeah.
Yes, we've learned a lot this year. How about you? What have you learned?
So for me, it was more about getting better at going outside my comfort zone. As you know, when you asked me to appear on camera with you, I said it would help. And I was like, oh, I'm a behind the scenes person. And then things like, learning about makeup, and Angie, one of our partners, helped style me. I didn't even really have like a working wardrobe.
I didn't either. I had been out of the workforce for 15 years too.
Yeah.
So I had nothing.
And I felt like that was a lot to learn.
It has been a lot to learn.
Yeah.
I remember you were a hard pass. Because you were so excited when I was sharing my ideas about the podcast. You were very excited to help me. Yeah. And you thought you were going to be behind the scenes.
Yes.
Nope. No, I did not take no for an answer.
I really, one thing I love about you is that you're able to help me find my next personal best. And to be able to go, push to the comfort zone, within reason, but to be like, this is about me thinking I can't do this versus, no, you can. You just need the encouragement. You're my best cheerleader, so I'm always grateful for that.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to cry because I feel the same way about you.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like every time I'm so frustrated when I hit a point in editing or something you keep saying, Mandy, this is building muscles, and you remind me that I can do this. And that's been huge for me to have you say those things to me. So I think we're a great team.
That's probably why we were meant to be. You know, looking back, like just how we met and how our experiences were so similar in many ways, and you know, and just having this desire, this common desire to have a safe space to learn from others. I'm even just looking back at the guests we've had. I have learned so much. I am inspired. I'm in awe. You know, these are just regular, everyday people that we meet. Speaking of which, let's talk about our first guest, Cindy.
Ooh, let's talk about Cindy. What's your biggest takeaway?
Okay, for Cindy, I mean, there's a lot we can unpack with her, like just, you know, just off the top of my head, like her perseverance, her never-ending spirit to continue. She's someone who has every excuse to just shut down and give up, and she doesn't. But I think the biggest one for me was when she shared about this leap of faith that she made a decision to do. And remembering that she was a single mom at this point with 2 kids. She's gone through 2 very abusive marriages, not to mention the trauma she suffered as a child, trying to raise 2 kids on a limited income. She made this decision to go, as an act of trust in God, I'm going to give $1,000 cash to someone.
God was truly testing her.
Time. And I have to ask myself, could I do that?
Right. And I think it was God teaching her, I'll take care of you.
Yes.
I'll take care of you.
And that's the part where I was like, do I believe that? Wow.
I find it interesting too, because if you look at it as a donation, we, as a family, my husband and I donate all the time. Yeah. Right? But to give it to a complete stranger. Yeah. But really, in the end, when we donate, for example, to the MS Foundation, that is something, I don't know who's getting that money or how it's being used. I know it's being used for good. Yeah. I mean, so I guess for me, I feel like I can give that money. Yeah. I know it's being used for good. And however, in Cindy's situation, she didn't know what they were going to do with that money.
No. That utter surrender, that's the part I was battling with. Sharing that story to get me to re-examine how much do I trust God, how much can I surrender, how much can I just let things go, and to be okay with it. I think my thing is like being okay with it is the part where I'm really still struggling with. How about you? What was Cindy's story that transformed you over the past year?
Gosh, I think with Cindy, I use the phrase now often that she used in that episode was she surrounds herself with people in process. And that's what I want. You know, I need to be challenged, as you said. You appreciate that I challenge you to be a better you. I want people who are going to truly challenge me. That's what I took away, to continue to plug myself in with people who are continually working on themselves, trying to be better people, setting goals for themselves. Where am I going to be a year from now? Where am I going to be 5 years? Where am I going to be 10 years from now? I love that. I love that thought process, and I've adapted that. My husband and I actually just a couple days ago started a seminar on goal setting and how to do it and how to do it better. Yeah, we're pretty excited about it.
Was it you or was it one of our guests that you're the sum of the 5 closest people you are?
Some of the people you spend the 5 people you spend the most of my time with.
Yeah, like looking up and saying, how can I grow? How can I do better? How can I be better? What can I learn from this person? What's one thing I can imitate? And I think that's such a great mindset to have. Which brings me to the next guest, Christina. Oh my gosh.
Those episodes were tearjerkers.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I cried more during those 2 episodes than I did during any of the other recordings.
Her spirit with which she was sharing, and just the example she was literally modeling for us while she spoke. And you know, one line that she said that stood out to me, and it was just like a throwaway comment. She said, I'm going to share my inside thoughts. I'm going to share them with you. And then she proceeded to like just share from her heart. And it was that level of openness and humility. And, you know, just in the same way like Cindy took $1,000 cash and gave it to a random person, you know, Christina, who I literally like had just met, like she doesn't know me from Adam, is sharing her deepest, darkest, most vulnerable, innermost thoughts. And I was humbled, moved, like honored, and then I was like, how often do I do that? Like, how often, am I too busy thinking, how do I look? What's this person gonna think of me? And here's Christina just spilling her guts, but doing it in such a collected way, like it was no big deal. And it just told me, like, that's who she is. That's her character.
She is truly authentic when she shares.
And then, like, the openness with which she approached life, like she's fine with it. Like she's in this incredible space that she's confident. And
there's a point in one of her episodes where she says, I know who I am today.
Yeah.
And my heart hurts for the girl she used to be.
I know.
And that moved me. To be 37 and know truly who she is.
Yeah.
I don't know that I can say that about myself. I still feel like I'm figuring that out.
Oh, yeah. Hello.
Yeah, so she really inspired me and I think I'm a pretty open and honest person, but not to that degree. And she inspired me to be even more authentic, to be more open and honest about my inside thoughts.
Yes.
That was a good way for her to say that.
And then she also said this line, it's the grace in which we handle situations that really define our character. I was just like, okay, drop the mic, we're done now.
I know, I feel like she should put that on t-shirts or, calling cards or something. Definitely put that out there into the world.
She owned the things that she wasn't super proud of, but she also you could see how, those challenges in the past made her the person she is today. We can't celebrate the light if we haven't experienced darkness. And I mean, when you meet her, she's the most bubbly. Did I make up the word bubbliest? She's so bubbly and so joyful and so optimistic and seeing the good in others. And I mean, this woman has experienced serious darkness, and to take her own journey and go, I'm going to be that support for others. I'm going to mentor. I'm going to give back.
Yeah, she and Cindy both do that.
Yeah.
I think it's fabulous that they're both taking some of their darkest moments and using them to mentor other women.
Oh my gosh. And the fact that like they have so many reasons to have a chip on their shoulder and to be bitter, that's not them.
She had another phrase that I'm just going to read it right off my card because I don't want to get it wrong. She said, everyone reaches their goals at different times and we can't compare ourselves to others. And she was using this when she was talking about how she and her son got their GEDs at the exact same time. For me, that was just so eye-opening. I know for the last 20 years, I constantly work on not comparing myself to others, comparing what they have, comparing what they look like to myself. And that's a daily struggle for me. Knowing she and Junior, 14 years apart, journeying together on that at the exact same time, that it doesn't matter your time frame. We're all walking a different path and it's okay, however we get there.
Yes.
That really resonated with me. That it's okay that we're in our 40s and we've just started a podcast and we knew nothing about podcasting. We listened to podcasts, but we knew nothing about doing this. So yeah, doesn't matter what age, we can do it. We got this.
Totally. And it's funny, speaking of like us starting our podcast journey, I was like realizing, in my episode, here I am talking about like trying to be someone who's going to make room at the table for others and pay things forward. And I realized I never once shouted out the family when I moved to Illinois, made room at their table so that I can pay it forward and invite others to that table that they had basically brought me to. I really want to give a shout out to the Simon family, especially to Merle Simon. It was my son's first day of school. We had just moved into Illinois. I'm like this Canadian.
I was going to say, for people who haven't listened, you're moving from Canada to Illinois.
Correct. Yeah, from Calgary, Alberta, specifically to the northern suburbs of Chicago, and didn't know anything. And it was a very tumultuous situation. There was a lot going on, and here I am, just frantic, and also having to adjust to this new school system and kind of how things work. And so I'm just standing here. I don't know anybody. I was more worried about my son, who was really heartbroken at having to move. He just turned 6. and he was devastated. He was, leaving behind his friends, and we literally didn't know anybody in Illinois at this point. And this woman comes up to me and starts chatting with me, and and kind of started inviting me to things and into dinner, and we became super close. Like I can always say the Simons are our extended family in Illinois. Every time we're in the Chicago area, we always make it a point to meet with them.
To use your word, they're your found family.
They were my found family, and I just remember like they invited me to synagogue, and to be able to sit through a service and to go, oh wow, like this is what Judaism feels like, and to see them living that. We were invited to everything from Mother's Day brunch to like Thanksgiving. Like they really treated us like family. And I think the biggest moment was when we got the phone call. My husband got the phone call that we were being relocated to the Houston area. We had listed our home, we had sold it, and this was at a time when the real estate market in Houston was like white hot. We did a house hunting trip. We were open to rentals, anything. And I remembered us going home. We had made 3 offers and all were rejected. And I remember boarding my flight to go back to Chicago going, what have we done? Like, we sold our home. We don't have an address to move to. And we have this date, the clock is ticking. And this was also during the pandemic as well. So there was a lot happening. There's a lot of moving parts. Merle's mother-in-law knew about her situation. Reached out to us and said, hey, I'm going to be in Florida for the winter. Would you like to stay in my home? And we were there for a month and a half. And just the way this family stepped up, I was, again, challenged, convicted, going, I need to imitate the spirit of this family.
And someday you'll get to pay that forward.
Yeah.
I guarantee in Houston, when you're in the West Cinco, the people on the East Cinco, when we flood, we'll come stay.
Well, you also hosted me where we had the power outage with Eric and Burl. You had power come back on before we did. And it's just amazing how we meet these people in our lives, and I don't know how it happens, or is it God's timing or what, but just at the right time.
Yeah.
And I really resolved to be that family, be that person for somebody else.
And have that faith.
You never know.
Because we've got a guest coming up who's going to talk about that.
Yeah.
God's timing.
Yes. So excited for our lineup of guests coming up in 2025.
I'm very excited about our guests because we have a man who's going to finally be a guest on the show. Surprisingly, it's hard to get men to open up and be vulnerable. So we're very excited to have our next couple of guests and in the 2025 upcoming year.
I'm really excited, like I said, looking back and then in this year to go like, how else am I going to grow? What else am I going to learn?
Yes, I'm looking forward to it too. Learning and growing together. Thank you for joining us on the Monomyth Diaries. If this episode resonates with you or someone you know, we'd love for you to share it and spread the inspiration.
Don't forget to follow us wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube to stay connected.
We'd appreciate if you could take a moment and rate and review the podcast. It helps us reach more people with stories of transformation and growth.
You can visit us at monomythdiaries.com or text us directly from the show notes to reach out and keep the conversations going.
Until next time, heroes, let's journey together through our monomyths.